ਸੋ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਰਿਲੀਜੀਅਸ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਤੇ ਇਹੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਸਾਡੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਕਲਚਰ ਹਨ, ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਿਲੀਫਸ ਨੇ, ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਾਣੂ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਜਾਏ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਾਬਾਈ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਮਿਵਾਸਰ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣਗੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਧਰਮ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਜੁਡਾਇਜ਼ਮ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿਊ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋਚ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ Rabbi David Mivasair. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll start off a little bit about you, how long you have been associated being a rabbi, and basically what prompted you to become a rabbi.
Wow, okay. So I became a rabbi in 1991.
Okay.
That's 25 years ago.
Wow.
And the way I became a rabbi is very typical for kind of modern times. We have seminaries where people go and study. So I studied for 5 years in a seminary. And what motivated me, I think, when I was a teenager, I got interested in religion, started thinking about it and exploring it. And the more I experienced, the more I liked it. And I want to share it with other people. And actually, I think I could say that if I thought our religion was being conducted perfectly, I wouldn't need to be a rabbi. I could go do something else, maybe be a TV personality.
Right.
I wanted to be a rabbi to try to change it a little.
Wonderful.
To make, help kind of bring out what I think it really should be.
Right. Yeah. We live in a multicultural society where people belonging to different faiths live in this society.
Yeah.
So it's always wonderful to know more about what you believe in, and all cultures have their own significant things.
Yeah.
So today, take us on this journey of basically who are the Jews?
Wow.
What does Judaism stand for?
Great.
So let's talk about what is Judaism.
That's a very big topic, So
It is.
First you said, who are the Jews?
Yeah.
And let's talk about Judaism.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea to think of those things in kind of different categories. So
Right.
let me talk about who the Jews are. So Jews, there's maybe about 12 million Jews in the world today. Live in many different countries, speak many different languages. We sometimes look quite different from each other. And we all see ourselves as descendants, quite literally, of the people in the Bible who were the children of Israel, or the Hebrew people in the Hebrew scriptures of the Bible, going back to Abraham. So a lot of that is historical, and through history we scattered around the world. Maybe about 100 years ago, some of us started moving back to the country that we came from, which could be called Palestine or Israel.
Right.
And imagine your viewers know that 60 or 70 years ago, about a third of all the Jews in the world were murdered.
Right. The Holocaust, everybody knows
in the
about
Holocaust, yeah. So there's a lot of diversity within and among Jews.
Right.
And with all the diversity, I think we feel very connected to each other.
Right.
So that's something about who are the Jews.
Right. That's wonderful.
Now,
and before we go to Judaism, as far as the Jews are concerned, mostly the people are doing business, or they are in the service class. Like, what is it?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know if it's mostly or not mostly. Jews work in every profession. I mean, seriously, there are Jewish cowboys and Jewish policemen, and
Right.
there may be a Jewish president in the United States soon. But historically, really what happened is in Europe, because of anti-Semitism and restrictions on Jews, Jews were not allowed to own land.
Right.
Jews were not allowed to work in many professions, so Jews had to rely on other ways of earning a living that often involved dealing with things, taking care of things. So for generations, the Jews in Europe have had to do that. Jews in other countries have all different kinds of backgrounds and different professions.
Great. Thank you for this information. So let's now focus on Judaism.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, Judaism is very diverse within it, even though there's only 12 million Jews, and probably really most Jews are not actually religious people. There's so much diversity within Judaism. But if I said something about Judaism as a whole, clearly it's about one God. One God created the world.
Right.
One God created people and the animals and the plants and everything that is. One God is more or less in everything,
Right.
making everything happen and be. And we should have no illusions about either no God,
Right.
that's impossible,
Right.
or how could there be more than one? Is one. And another thing I think is important to say is that what we do in our lives in this world matters
Okay.
to God
Right.
and matters in where everything is going, what we're here for.
Right.
So even every little thing, just the way we talk with somebody, the way we smile, or
Right.
big things like making peace and social justice,
Right.
it's not just meaningless. You know, there are some religions that teach us to be very detached and like what happens in this world, it doesn't really matter. What matters maybe the next world, or this
Right.
world's an illusion. So Judaism is absolutely clear. This world is very real,
Right.
and that's what's important, not
Okay.
thinking about things that we can't even know.
Tell us a little bit about your ceremonies, your practices. Like you said, one God, of course, but to please that God, do you need some ceremonies and rituals, or as you said, it's a daily part of your life?
It is a daily part of life, and ceremonies and rituals, and you can see this going all the way back into the Bible.
Right.
Parts of the Bible written even 3,000 years ago. So there's different emphases.
Right.
Some people might emphasize the ritual things. What time do you pray? How many times do you pray? What words do you say when you pray? You know,
Right.
what do you eat? What do you wear? And other people would say, wait a minute, God doesn't really care about that. God wants you to, treat your neighbor as you wish to be treated yourself.
Right.
Right? It says in the Bible, seek peace and pursue it. So which one is more important?
Right.
I don't think we could say. But in people's lives, people feel drawn to one thing or another. So both of those are very important.
What about the commandments? Like we have 10 commandments.
Yeah.
So similarly for Judaism, are there any commandments?
Oh, the 10 Commandments
Okay.
come from
Right.
Judaism.
Right.
Not really. They come from the Bible, and Judaism comes from the Bible. But
Right.
the 10 Commandments are primary for us.
Right.
So the 10 Commandments are very general things, almost like headlines, right? Thou shalt not steal, right? Honor your mother and father. They're simple things.
Right.
And of course, through history, those have been developed and developed and developed. So
Right.
our tradition says we have 613 commandments. It's just a number.
Okay.
It touches on every part of life, like
Okay.
business, relationships with other people, even just how you take care of yourself.
Right.
So many, many, many things. Just to talk about one I think should be most prominent is
Right.
Sabbath. So in the 10 Commandments, in the Bible,
Right.
we are told, keep a Sabbath. It's a
Right.
holy day. Do no manner of labor. And even the creation story in the Bible, if you look at the very first chapter in the first book, when God created the world in 7 days, 6 days God created the earth and the sky and the water and the animals and the plants. And the seventh day, God rested
Right.
and blessed the seventh day.
Okay.
It doesn't say God blessed the things, the physical things. God blessed this time and made it holy. So that's in the beginning. And then later in the Bible, we're told to do the same thing. 6 days,
Right.
do your work. That's very important. You have to do that. But don't only do that. On the seventh day, it's a time for reflection, for connection with people, or those kinds of things.
Right. So generally in every religion there are some ceremonies and some rituals which need to be practiced, and as you said, both have significance,
Yes.
whether what kind of ceremonies and rituals are doing. But in a daily, affair kind of thing, when we talk about religion as such, for example, in the Sikhs, we have to read something from the Holy Guru Granth Sahib every day, which is called the Nitnem. So even other religions, all people also follow some practices. So as in Judaism, what do you read every day? Do you have to read something? What all is done? We'll talk about this after this short break. We'll come back
Good.
and learn more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਓ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਰਾਬਾਈ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਮਿਵਾਸੇਰ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਰੱਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜਿਊਜ਼ ਕੌਣ ਨੇ? ਜਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਲੋਕ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 12 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਜਿਊਜ਼ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਖੇਤਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੋਲੋਕਾਸਟ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਐਕਸਟਰਮੀਨੇਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ, ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 6 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਜੂਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਮਾਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੂਜ਼ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਫੀਲਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਅਫਸਰ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਰਬਾਈ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਖੇਤਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਜੁਡਿਜ਼ਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸਨੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਣਤਰ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਸੈਰੇਮਨੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਮੇਨ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਰਿਫਲੈਕਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 613 ਕਮਾਂਡਮੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਫੋਰ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੇਬਰ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਚੋਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਨਾਲ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਆਸਥਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਬਾਈਬਲ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੀ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਤੋਂ।
ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਹੇਅਰ ਮੋਟਰਸ। ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੱਦਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਦੇਖੋ। ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਵਰਗਾ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਕੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੋ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ। ਇਹ ਇੰਨਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਆ ਕਿ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਈਨਾਂਸ ਦੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਲੈਣੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਫਾਈਨਾਂਸ ਕਰਨਾ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਓ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪੇਮੈਂਟ ਘੱਟ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰੇਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ 1 ਘੰਟੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੂਵ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਭੇਜਾਂਗੇ।
Once again, welcome back to the program. ਜੁਡਿਜ਼ਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਸਥਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੂਜ਼, ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਰਾਬੀ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਮਿਵਾਸਰ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡੇਲੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸਿਸ ਕੀ ਨੇ, ਆਓ ਉਸ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ। So before the break, we were talking about the kind of practices which every religious person in quotes claims to follow. So what kind of practices you have?
Well, I'd like to talk maybe about 2 or 3. So
Sure.
one is prayers at certain times of day. So when we wake up, there's just beautiful prayers to thank God for bringing us back from sleep into this world, and just thank God for so many things. So on one hand, we're thanking God as if, you know, but really it's raising our own consciousness, making us aware and giving us just a time for gratitude and just be more present with what is, because so often we can just be so busy and running around like crazy and thinking about the next thing we have to do and not even remembering just all the blessings and gifts that are in our lives all the time. So one thing is prayer. Right back into the ancient Bible, we're told to pray, to remember these things when we rise up and when we lie down. So it's a Jewish tradition in the morning and in the evening. Also before we eat anything, to just thank God. And then another thing, some of your viewers may have noticed on some people's homes, in the doorway, on the doorpost, there's a little teeny box nailed on the doorpost, maybe about this high, usually on the right-hand side, tilting over. And inside that box, there's a little scroll with parchment, written by hand by a scribe. And it's verses from the Bible or from the Torah. And it's there just to remind us as we go in. In a way, we're going into a holy place. God's presence is in this house. When we go out, we're also going into a holy place, right? God's presence is out there, and we're just to keep that connection. So there's many things like that.
You talked about holiness as such, you know, like what does being holy mean? Because generally we feel being holy means, or we presume it, that, you know, when you're reading from the Torah or the Bible or the Holy Guru Granth Sahib or any other religious book, at that time it's that holiness which prevails. So if you can tell us, what does holiness mean to you?
So holiness is a kind of presence of the divine or the transcendent, and it's in everything. It's in everything, you know, so we can find it. And when we find it, we can bring it up and bring it out. You know, and you talk about reading scriptures, you can do that with great sense of holiness. You could also just do it very automatically and not even pay attention to what you're doing. And many things are like that. So there's actually Judaism talks about sparks, like divine sparks, like there's a little spark in everything. And we can find it and we can bring it up and bring it out. Whether we find it or not, it's there. But whether it gets felt and experienced in this world is kind of up to us to make that happen. And as far as the holy book is concerned, the Torah, tell us a little bit about this. What does what does it contain, and what does it preach? So the Torah is the 5 books in the beginning of the Bible. The Bible has about another 20 or 30 books, okay? So the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. Part of it is historical, just telling a story about Abraham and Sarah and their child Isaac and so on, and Joseph and Moses. It's a story. It's like that.
Right.
Another part of it is telling us how to live, very specific, ethics and also ritual things.
Right.
And also there's poetry and song, you know. So that's in the Torah.
Right.
And that is, it's like the oldest foundation layer of Judaism. And I think a lot of people make a mistake of thinking they can read the Torah and they'll know about Judaism.
Okay.
So Judaism's been developing and changing for more than 3,000 years.
Right.
So what's in the Torah is like the foundation, and so much has come out of it and developed all through the years.
We also find, like in every other religious group, even in the Jews, or amongst the Jews also, we find Orthodox Jews and the modern Jews. Orthodox Jews who are, we see pictures where their depiction is something different. So what is the difference? Are they more religious than the normal Jews, or what is it?
Okay, so I think orthodoxy is a fallacy. It's not really what it says it is. So orthodox, ortho means straight, and dox is like the word doctrine and teaching.
Right.
So they believe that their way is the one right way of being a religious Jew, just like that's what orthodoxy is. Excuse me, but orthodoxy itself only developed about 150 or 200 years ago.
Right.
As Jews in Europe were able to enter into the wider society, they encountered many challenges to their beliefs, and many Jews changed their beliefs. So orthodoxy was kind of a protective reaction against that. So what you called modern Jews, I think, are able, that includes me, to hold on to the essence and change the manifestation of it.
Okay.
And the essence, I would say, what does God want of us? You know, even the prophet Micah in the Bible said, it's been told to you, O mortal, what God requires of you. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. You know, so if we can remember those things, that is the essence.
Upliftment of the human being.
And how do we live that out? That can be different in different times and different places, right? I'm not doing that the way my great-grandparents did. Right. And that's an interesting thing. I think you've referenced different religions. So as we progress on this like multi-generational journey of humankind, you know, how has Christianity changed? How will Sikhism change? Islam, like everything's constantly evolving. And some of that evolution is God coming into this world and manifesting in ways that people didn't get it before, but now we're able to get it. Right.
There's so many questions. Time is very limited, so I'll try to cover the maximum things. When you talk about God as such, you know, like, so God is like heaven and hell. That's a very much talked about question in every religion.
Not really in Judaism. No, it's not. I'm
so
glad
what
you
is
said
God
that.
basically?
So I can say no. Judaism's really focused on this world.
Right.
Is there heaven?
Nobody knows.
Who knows?
Right.
Okay. Whatever. We, you know, you can speculate and talk about it, but don't engage with that too much.
Right.
Judaism doesn't really think much about hell at all. What's important is how are we
you're
living?
conducting yourself in your daily life.
Yes, that's right. But you ask about God.
Yeah.
So God also is absolutely unknowable. And in our tradition, we simply cannot say the name of God. It's written, but we can't pronounce it. It's not a prohibition like you shouldn't, but it's just impossible because our minds are not big enough. You know, we're just humans.
To contemplate that.
So we do contemplate. We talk about it. You can.
Yeah.
But who can know?
Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the festivals which you celebrate. What are the major festivals which you celebrate?
Great. Well, a really major one is in the springtime. It's called Passover in English, and it has a historical meaning. It's when the ancient Hebrew slaves broke out of slavery from Egypt and went on this journey. And then it has other meanings as well. That's historical. There's a kind of a nature cycle meaning of just the beginning of springtime. Right. And things just break out in spring, right? 50 days after that, which
Right.
is 7 weeks, 7 times 7 plus 1, 50 days, is a holiday called Shavuot,
Yeah.
in English called the Feast of Weeks.
Right.
And we celebrate when those people came to Mount Sinai
Right.
and God spoke to them and revealed, like, where are you going? What are you doing? What are you, you know, it's great to be free, but
Right.
what for? So we received the Torah.
Right.
And then 6 months after, this is all connected to the moon. So the first one is the full moon,
Okay.
a certain month in the spring. 6 months later, the full moon, we celebrate the harvest. So the first one is the beginning of growth, little sprouts coming up.
Right.
And the last one is kind of the
Harvesting that.
ingathering of the harvest. And so there's an agricultural,
Right.
physical harvest. And if we do things well, there's a spiritual harvest that we
Right.
can also benefit from.
Like I'm wearing a turban, you have covered your head also. Is there any special significance? We could
Yes.
talk about kippah. Is this a
Yes.
kippah?
It's a kippah.
Okay.
It's a kippah. So the meaning of a kippah really is like just humility
Okay.
and kind of metaphorically remembering that there's someone above us, someone's
Right.
watching us. And I know, like in a lot of Western culture, a man demonstrates his humility by taking off
Taking
his
off.
hat. You know, you go
Right.
into church, you take off your hat. You meet the
Right.
queen, take off your hat, right? But our culture is exactly the opposite. If you're
Right.
bareheaded, that's kind of arrogant. And,
Right.
you know, the queen can bare her head, but you better have your head covered, you know.
Right.
So that's what, it's just, actually you use the word kippah.
Yeah.
So there's another word we use, yarmulke.
Yarmulke.
Yarmulke comes from Aramaic, another
Okay.
ancient language like Hebrew. Yarmulke
Right.
means awe of the king. Malka is king. You probably
Right.
have words like that in Punjabi, like Malik,
Yeah.
Malka. So Yarmulke is awe of the king. So when you have this on, you just
Right.
like remember.
Humble and humility.
Yeah.
That's what it denotes.
It
Wonderful.
should. It should.
Towards the end, one last question
Yeah.
is that all religions, I would say, are facing a major crisis as far as the youngsters are concerned.
Yeah.
Today, there is a talk of being spiritual rather than being religious.
Exactly right.
And probably in Judaism also, maybe you are also facing this issue that our youngsters are not aligning with the way they should be. What do you feel as a rabbi, what can be done and what should be done, and how should religion be presented in today's world?
Well, I think religion is the vessel to hold our spirituality. Everyone's
Right.
spiritual, but we need ways
Right.
to express it, to share it, to learn about it. And religion gives us like rituals and calendars and stories and models and vocabulary. So if you're spiritual without religion, what do you do? How do you do that? You know, I think you need to almost like invent a religion so you have a way
Right.
to do it.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much and best wishes. Thank you.
very much.
ਵੈਲਕਮ ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਇਹ ਜੁਡਾਇਜ਼ਮ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਰੱਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਕਿ ਮਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਣ ਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਹਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਪਰਿਵਰਤਨ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਤੁਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਰ ਰਹੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਿ ਰੋਜ਼ ਦੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸਿਸ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰੇਅਰ, ਗ੍ਰੈਟੀਟਿਊਡ, ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ, ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣਾ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਰੱਬ ਹਰ ਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਤੇ 7ਵੇਂ ਅਸਮਾਨ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੈ। ਰੱਬ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੀ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਗਰੋਥ ਹੋਵੇ, ਸਾਡੀ ਵੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਗਰੋਥ ਹੋਵੇ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਤਦ ਹੀ ਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਹੈ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਸਤੇ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਸਕੀਏ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡੀ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਧਰਮ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਧਰਮ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ। ਰਿਲੀਜਨ ਇੱਕ ਵੈਸਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੰਗੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਜਹਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹੀ ਜੁਡਾਇਜ਼ਮ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੋਰਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਲੀਜੀਅਸ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਮਾਂਡਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਹੀ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਚੰਗੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਿਦਮਤ ਕਰੀਏ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਦੀ ਅਤੇ ਇਸੀ ਜਹਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਚਾ ਚੁੱਕੀਏ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋਣ ਲਈ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਜੇਕਰ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੋਏ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ 604-603-7555 ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਈਮੇਲ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਵੀ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ harpreetsingh@gmail.com। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਅਤੇ ਐਡਵਰਟਾਈਜ਼ਰਸ ਦੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਦੌਲਤ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕਰੋ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਥੈਂਕਫੁਲ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਨੇ। ਲੈਣਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਫਿਰ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਗੁੱਡ ਬਾਏ।